Hello people! Today I want to do my video standing up because I'm so sick of sitting down. And what I want to talk about is this lesson in my life that keeps popping up over and over and over again that the universe still thinks I haven't learned. And I know that I haven't learned it because it's such a big thing. And the reason I want to share it on my little YouTube diary is because our whole society is needing to learn this lesson. Anyway, it'll make sense as we go, but I want to share a little story about my life to kind of show you guys where this all came from. So, if you follow me, you know that I have a long distance boyfriend. As you can imagine, if you're dating someone who's in a different country to you, you don't know what's going on. Like it can be more stressful than if you're in the same country, right? Especially for someone like me who's an overthinker. In September, so we've been dating for about 2 years now, there came this opportunity where someone said like essentially, oh, I can give you a document which can tell you exactly how you can get a visa, whether you'd be able to once and for all. Like no questions anymore in your head, like you're gonna know if you just pay for the service, right? And we were like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. Like I'll give some clarity because obviously the visa situation to the UK is really complicated. Because obviously I'm freaking out when I'm not in control, I was like, so I think that if we do this, you know, this document, and it doesn't work out, I think we should really consider whether we're gonna be together or not anymore. Which if you're watching this, you're probably thinking, oh, that makes sense. That's quite a rational thing to say, right? You know, because you wanna move on with your life, you wanna know what's going on. And my boyfriend was really shocked that I said this, and I didn't really understand why. I thought it made sense. And later when I shared it with someone else, the story, she said to me that that is a really passive thing of you to say. And I never understood that because I hate passiveness. Like it's just, I really don't like it. Like I like proactiveness and everything. So I was confused as to how I could have been being passive, right? Because I don't think that I'm a passive person. Anyway, and I said, how am I being passive? And she was like, well, you're not taking responsibility of your own life. You're so scared to take responsibility over this relationship that you've gotten yourself into that you want to put it onto a bloody document. That's what you want to determine the fate of whether this thing that you've worked on for 2 years is going to work out. And I was like, that is so true. And I cannot believe that because I've had so many arguments with my boyfriend blaming him for being passive when in fact I'm passive in a more subtle way. Also, if you ever blame someone for something, it's usually because you don't like that about yourself. So that was an interesting thing to know. Anyway, why I'm telling you guys this is because of this lesson that I think, which is take responsibility of your life. And that sounds simple, and you're probably like, I do take responsibility, but you probably don't. And why? Because our society likes victims. Who gets the attention? Victims. When we make ourselves like, it's not fair, like this really bad thing happened, like if I said, oh, like I had to break up with my boyfriend because he couldn't come here because the document said it, it's like, oh, poor her. That's how we get people to rally around us these days, you know? We don't take ownership and say, look, the right thing what I should have said is, I committed to being in this. It's my choice that I'm in this. It is really difficult sometimes, but this is how I've chosen it. If it's gonna end, it's gonna be because of my choice or his choice, not because of some other external factor. And the reason that I want to share this is because when you start to take responsibility of your own life, make sure that every decision you're making, you say, I'm actively choosing to do this. Nothing is being forced upon me, obviously with some, you know, exceptions. I really think life becomes a lot fresher and a lot better because you start to see that you can't blame anything else. That does sound a bit scary because then you kind of think, oh, well then maybe I'm going to blame it all on me. But that's the other end of the spectrum. We can have self-blame, but we can also have responsibility, and we want to be more on that end. But sometimes when we take that to the extreme, we can go to the self-blame, thinking everything is my fault. So you have to find the balance. It's not to say that sometimes it's not the right moment to place blame on something. Sometimes to heal, we do need to place blame on something. But the reason that we don't do this is because we're scared to accept the real reasons why we're not taking responsibility, which are probably, you know, fear, vulnerability, lack of confidence. So it can be really difficult, and so we don't do it. But yeah, this is popping up in my life again, and the recent story that happened is that, so again, I learned everything through my relationship, so this is why all my anecdotes come from that, because it brings the mirror to my eyes. But so basically, he's now got a really quite intensive job, and I've got quite a not intensive university degree. And so I was complaining, oh, you know, we never speak, we hardly speak. Why don't you make time for me? Blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you know, well, I'm trying, but I'm busy and I will talk to you at night. And I was like, okay. And then I was reading this book, which I will make a book review of, by the way. And in it, he said, One of the rules of how to find love is that you've got to find your purpose. Because, which just sounds obvious again, but it's not that obvious, where your purpose comes before anything else in life, because without that you've lost your direction. And so I realized that my whole purpose is almost waiting for this call, because he's so busy, so now I'm waiting for it, instead of trying to fill my days with what do I like and what do I want to pursue, right? And again, that's me not taking responsibility of my life, because again, I was trying to blame it onto him. I was trying to say, oh, I'm not happy because this is not working, which is a very easy thing to do, by the way. We like to push blame from other things in our life onto the relationship, because it's like this thing that can easily break. When we don't take responsibility, we take pressure off, because we don't claim that we are autonomous. We claim that the world acts on me. I am the good guy, and only everything else affects me. That's no pressure on me, that's the pressure on them. But once you start to look in and say, shit, I'm actually in control of this ship, I'm leading this, that's pressure. We don't like that. It's a pressure that we need to learn to live with, and slowly we can, and it will only yield good things. The important thing to note is that taking responsibility doesn't mean that you become some sort of like aggressive, non-emotional person. It's okay to feel sorry for yourself and to feel bad inside of yourself when something bad happens. This is a normal reaction. It's kind of when you start noticing it become like almost an inherent characteristic of yourself, I think, is when it becomes the issue. You can feel sorry for yourself as a feeling. Feelings come and go. Whether it's a narrative, that's a different story. Am I placing myself into the victim position because I'm scared that if I don't act like the victim, maybe people won't rally around me and then I'll feel alone? Yeah. I hope you found my stories interesting. Bit of open gossip, I guess. Yeah, I hope you think about how you're not taking responsibility in your own life and how you might be falling into the victim character. I'll leave an interesting article down below in the description if you want to find out more, where I got some of these ideas from, all the stories and realizations were my own, but then I topped it up with a little bit of the stuff I found on the internet. So I hope you enjoy. See you guys later.